How many times can we retire in a working lifetime?
You're listening to Jom Sembang Malaysia.
I'm surprised Juwita did ask me what kind of question is this.
And but I didn't ask big. It's in my head already. I'm like,
Because half the time when I
speechless.
write certain podcast topics, right? So, okay, how we do our podcast is I will just write the topic of the day and then maybe 2 description, that's it, right? And sometimes she'll ask me, what is this lah? So I'm half expecting this coming from her because this is so totally not your generation.
because I know I can ask you on air. So what is this lah?
Okay, so there's a new trend coming up lately. Okay, more for people below 40. I'm still in the bracket, so I guess it applies. Where people actually intentionally take frequent retirements throughout their entire working lifetime.
Wait, I'm wrapping my frequent retirements throughout the entire. But isn't retirement means retire lah? Stop doing something.
Yeah,
And
that's
don't
what is
start
it, right?
again.
Correct. So I also was thinking about that because this has gone very viral on TikTok. Micro-retirement. Everyone is on a micro-retirement. So I'm like reading that video and I'm like, what is this talking about? Okay. So its layman term is people are taking long career breaks in between.
How long is long?
A year, 2 years, 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a trend now where a lot of the younger generation like to do this thing. They will get a job. They hustle 3 years, give their life to the company, to their boss, get the job done, super good, right? And then they take 1 year off.
So they also earn enough money to take the year
To
off.
play 1 year off. Yeah. Okay. Then they go traveling, do whatever they want, and then they come back, they start again.
Okay.
So today, I just want to pick your brain lah.
Okay, sure.
Because I think I can some sort semi-associate with this.
Okay.
But I also want to talk to you because I think maybe your age group of people might not like, will probably go like, what on earth you're doing lah, you know?
Okay.
So I think it makes a good contrast of a conversation lah. Okay, so now that you understand what the entire thing is, what's your first impression?
My first impression is, we used to call it sabbatical.
I think the word sabbatical leave is really only popular or better known in the Christian context lah.
Yeah, maybe.
If you're not Christian, you don't go anywhere and say, hi, I take sabbatical leave. It's a bit like weird lah.
Okay, so I suppose I should explain what a sabbatical is, right? Actually, it comes from the word Sabbath lah. In a sense, God created the world in 6 days and the 7th day He rested. So when you say Christian context, it's because we work, supposed to be rest at least 1 day a week and then get back into the thing. And then there's also, let's say you already work for, let's say, after 10 years, right? And then you take a 1 year break, recalibrate, can use it for studies or whatever, and then continue lah. So in a sense, I think it is kind of like that. Maybe the working term is now shorter lah. Because everything instant ma. When you want to wait 10 years, then only take the break, right? So
Correct.
you can, after 4 years, also take a break. Right? What's to stop you from that? And maybe because life is so fast-paced now that you need to, maybe actually people need it, right? Just to clean your brain, take a break. Okay, so that's actually a lot of things come to mind. So I go all first. All is it?
But having said that, just now you say people need it because everything is so fast-paced. Okay, you hold your thoughts. Okay,
I
don't forget
hold
your
it.
thoughts.
I
Okay?
hold.
Okay, but I think that's true, you know, because in the way that I find it very efficient if I just go intense working 3 hours and then
Yeah.
it's the same concept, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, last time things take longer time, right? So you write a letter, you mail it, then you wait for
2 days.
whenever the letter come back. Okay, let's follow up on these.
Correct. Now you send an email, 2 minutes later the reply come and then you send 2 minutes.
The other day somebody was on, I don't know which social media, they're like, so annoying, I just ticked it off my thing and then you reply, now I have to put it back and reply again, you know, stuff like that. So it's that fast, right? Even people arrive, instead of taking a few months on the ship, I've seen newsletters, you know, a few months on the ship, should be arriving next week.
Correct.
Now it's like, already left, landed already, you reach the airport, they already land. So in that sense, so fast, your brain needs to catch up with things. So even you are telling me, let's say social media punya not algorithm, but the way it functions,
Changes all the time.
yeah, it changes all the time. You just, okay, I designed the template, like you say, right? You design the thing for this one, and then
Correct. Imagine a Facebook cover you design size A, and then you use it for 1 week. Oh, Facebook have decided to change the interface. Now it's size B.
yeah, or the latest one, the Instagram going from square to not square, you know, things like that. And it's so fast, right? So your brain actually is going on hyperspeed, I think lah. So that's why, yeah lor, need that break maybe sooner lah to recalibrate, like, you know, shut down and then defragment.
Yeah.
Haven't heard that word for a long time.
Correct. So like for example, before all this micro retirement or this term comes about, right?
Yeah.
About, let's say, how many years ago? 14 years ago.
So long. What?
14 years ago, I took 1 year break.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So back then I wasn't burnt out.
Uh-huh.
But I just felt that in my entire life, all I do is finish school,
Yes.
go straight to college before SPM result comes out.
Mhm.
Okay, finish college, got a job before my college result come out.
Yeah.
And then So
Yeah.
I felt like in terms of comparing my life to my peers, they actually took time between studies or before getting a first job to
Right.
actually live life.
Like during the holidays, waiting for results and all
Yeah,
that. Right?
they actually like go and travel first, or don't find a job first, go and rest 1 month first or whatever, you know. But I was just back to
On the
back,
go.
or even overlapping, not even back to back, you know, overlapping transition all the way, right?
Yeah.
So I remember that particular year, I think it's 2012 or 2011, that I decided, okay, it's got to be an intentional year break. And I remember making this decision like a year before it happens, so that I can prep everything lah. Okay, from my clients prepping to my partners or whatever not lah.
Yeah.
Okay, and 1 year break. But when I made that decision, everyone has this, are you out of your mind? Like, what are you thinking? Like, hey, crazy idea are you? You know? Because the risk is too much compared to, hey, you need holiday that bad, meh? Can't you just take 1 week, 2 weeks? Why must take one whole year?
Because you're at the so-called peak
I'm
of
at
your
the peak,
career.
correct.
Yeah.
So I'm at the peak of my career. So what happened is the people are telling me don't do that so that you don't lose your clients. Our partners are telling you don't do that because then they also lose jobs lah. If you cannot do your part of the project, then they need to find someone to replace it. And your parents going, oh, how are you going to eat? You know, what's your bread and butter? Do you save enough for a year?
Yeah.
Like, you know, that kind of stuff. So yes, that was my first micro retirement in my entire career journey lah. Okay.
How long into your career or working life were you at that time? 10 years?
10 years in, yeah. Around 10 years in. Slightly more than 10 years, I think.
Okay. So 10 years feels decent lah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
the thing
in like
is,
old school.
The thing is, it wasn't the 10 years. It's like I said, from school.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
You know, people normally take a break lah. After SPM, you go and play or whatever.
Yeah.
After SPM, Gina do part-time work and then go college.
Correct.
So,
but this
it was-
taking a break is also quite a recent, almost privileged thing. Okay, now not privileged. People who are not so privileged also take a break.
I don't think it's a privileged thing when I started off because it wasn't a norm. Okay, people weren't like now, like, oh, just take a break or do this, you know. People then, for me, it was a very calculated plan. It wasn't like, okay, next month onwards, I don't work for a year.
Yeah.
It was a very calculated plan in the sense that, okay, I'm going to take a year break. Let's try to earn as much as I can so that I don't be a burden to anyone. I can cover my bills and whatever not.
Yeah.
And then intentionally telling the working partners so that I'm not tempted to jump back to work because I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
Okay, after 1-2 weeks, like, hey, got job take lah. You know, because
Yeah.
lagi lah if the whole time you have nothing to do, right?
Yeah.
Any jobs that come is like, yay!
And then especially those that like you say brainless one, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
brainless
I can do this
one.
eyes closed, just
Correct.
do, and then money come what? Okay.
Correct.
Might actually
for
enjoy it
me,
also.
Yes, because you're already so free that your creation process is
Yeah.
even nicer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so for me, when I was intentional, like I really booked a trip. Like, oh, okay, I'm going Australia for 55 days. You know, or like really go away and just not available for work. Was what made it a break lah. But what I really enjoy about that reset is that I feel that when I came back with new experience and new ideas.
Yeah.
That is like, I don't think I would have get if I didn't travel lah.
Correct.
Especially in terms of the impact of me writing my books. It's so hard to write something new if you don't experience something new.
Correct. And I think it also opens up your mind, your perspective in life. You see other ways of doing things than other weather, experience other weather and things like that. But I think my question is, why is it called retirement? Okay, so for the first thing, I don't understand what the word
Okay.
retirement actually means in the first place.
Retirement means you quit from that industry or that job. Like more of the industry lah. For example, a doctor have retired. Now she write books.
But why is it called
But
retired?
she's not entirely, jobless. She retired from one industry and she joined another industry. I think that's what retirement mean here. Okay, but when you ask me about why is it called micro-retirement now, I'll answer you after the break.
Okay. Today's episode is brought to you by Joy Luck Penang. A pet-friendly place, you are welcome to bring your pets to chill out with you. Who knows, you might meet like-minded new friends who share the same passion as you while your pet makes a new friend too.
Okay, so micro-retirement basically, just now I'm mentioning like retiring from an industry lah. So it's quite bad, right? If you say the doctor quit doctor and write a book. You don't say that. Normally you say the doctor retired from medical and write a book. Okay.
Yes.
So when I was talking about the whole micro-retirement in a lot of young adult career now is they literally do that. They go to media, do 2-3 years.
Yes.
I got tired of media, retire, go play 1 year, come back. Now I do waitering. Totally different industry. They don't come back to the same industry. That's also one of the pattern that's showing up. That young people get bored of the same thing. So they do it intensely for 2-3 years.
Yes.
Master it, got bored, and then bye-bye. And enter another industry after taking a break. And this break is not like a week break. It's like 3 months, 6 months or whatever, where they discover what's the next thing I want to be intently involved in.
Okay.
Dive in and suddenly I'm a F&B owner.
Okay.
And then they sell away the cafe because it's doing whatever well. Then they go on holiday in. Okay, I retire from F&B.
Next
and then
chapter.
I holiday. Yeah, correct. I holiday. And then I come in. Oh, now I want to be artist.
Yeah.
Okay, so I start my vlog lah. I do my whatever. I do my painting, whatever. Then so they retire many times because they retire from many ministry or many industry many times.
Yeah.
And then
Okay, I don't know about the word that you used just now that they have mastered something. I don't think you can master something in 3 years. Maybe got the hang of it.
True.
I said, I'm still old school lah. But in today's terms, people do think they have mastered something after 3 years. They say, oh, I can do this. I'm a producer or blah blah blah. Like, really? What's your experience to call yourself that? Have you actually gone through all the process? Just because you do producing work does not necessarily earn you the right to be called a producer. Okay, but that's my take of mastering
I counter
something.
take you.
Counter take, come.
So for example, right, I also used to think that way, but there's this person I talked to that really changed my mind. She said, for example, last time you take 10 years to master song production. Because maybe 1 year you only produce 3 songs or 4 songs. Okay.
Right.
But now with technology and everything, all the production process has been shortened.
Okay.
So in a year, they might produce 3 times more than we used to.
Okay, makes
Therefore,
sense.
mastering does not take 10 years, it might take 5 years.
Okay, fair enough.
Which I think is, okay, fair enough, like I said,
but
right?
that's if you have done
Intensely doing it lah.
many times lah. Many times.
But of course, yours is also fair lah. If you're not intensely, then you just, I just like that, 3 years, then it's not considered
But
lah.
also doing many times and having developed the craft and that level of skill lah. I think I still put respect at.
Correct.
It's like, I hear this person's product ada kelas.
Understand.
I hear this one like that's so called producer. So in that sense lah. Okay, so but that's just
fair
me
enough.
But I think changing things is not a bad thing, no, actually. Actually, I also have been.
I think it's very suitable. So for me, right, maybe Gen Z gave me permission to do what I've been doing all this while. Because I've been doing slightly different from people.
Yeah.
But it's not as extensive or extreme as the younger people do lah. Like I took 1 year break. I did it like every 5 years. Let's take a break. I don't do that. But I did took that thing. And looking back, right, I also have changed industry, right?
Yes,
Similar but not
correct.
similar in the sense that, I've spent the first 10 years, I really did all the advertising work,
Yes.
the writing work, marketing work, whatever, right? And the last 5 years, I've been doing a lot of production work, musical lah, concert lah. So it's a change. But what the difference is, I didn't take a retirement. Like, I didn't take a break. I just jumped from one to another, the kind of things. But in a way, I might have wished I took a break, because I think taking breaks like this also helps with burnout. How you manage your burnout.
Yeah.
What I really admire about young people these days is because they choose something.
Yeah.
Wow, they really dive in deep, intently, very disciplined, get it done, really intense.
Yeah.
So it's understandable that when they take a break, they really take a break.
Play hard. Work hard, play hard lah.
Yeah. Compared to, I don't know, during my times, a lot of my peers are just work, play, work. Like normal.
Yeah.
So, but they also don't experience burnout lah because they have regular recycling of energy and whatever not. So, I think that explains why the habit of the young people now is of taking all these small little 1 year break, whatever. It's also because of the way they operate.
Okay, let me tell you about not my pan mi seller, the stall next to the pan mi seller. So there's this lady.
Trust Juwita to talk about pan mi in the midst of all these things. I don't know how it's going to fit in, but yes, come, let's hear it out.
So, I mean, okay, we always think this type of thing, very urban. I mean, not say urban, I'm living in urban places lah, but very Gen Z, very hipster kind of thing, right? So, the lady selling noodles next to the pan mi stall. Her husband owns the kopitiam.
Okay.
Newly bought over lah, past 3 years after COVID, right? And they're quite kind of young. I think she's younger than the husband. She likes Coldplay, she likes whistling all the latest hits and stuff. Sometimes you see her stall closed one.
Suka hati close ah?
Not suka hati closed for 10 days.
Okay, so she takes breaks.
She takes breaks. And then because she can speak in English, right? So, I mean, because I find it a bit hard to converse or make conversation with the others lah. Or setakat order food only, right? So this one, right? I said, taking a break, where, are y'all okay? Like first thing you think, is it medical break or what? And she says, I went holiday with my friends, I went to Japan. I'm like, then leave your husband at home, like, my husband needs to take care of the kopitiam. Anyway, he also don't like to travel like me. So, okay. So that was the first one, right? Went to Japan, 10 days. Came back. And then next 2 months work very hard. I mean, food stall owner. Memang work very hard morning until night one lah. Then next 2-3 months, another 10 days. I'm like,
hey, good life.
Where are you going? Going China. Oh, okay. Again.
She really worked hard for the 2 months to go for the next trip.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that sense, hers is not changing industry, but is like really work and then rest.
Would you do that though?
Then come back and then rest. I don't know lah. I don't know. Maybe it's a different phase of my life.
I always find that there is, of course, this advantage to all these things.
Okay.
So like I went for sabbatical for a year. When I come back, I have half a client left. There is, even though I'm in the same industry, I do have to start again. Like for example, I need to start my invoice number again. I need to start my quotation number again. I need to reconnect with my contacts to see whether they are still working where they are working.
Yeah.
Whether my clients still working where they are working so that I have the same job or they pindah or whatever. So for me, right, every long break that you take, the longer it is, the harder the reset is.
Okay.
You might be resetting your life, but indirectly, you're resetting your entire career path in terms of network, credibility, and what you do. Because if you take break, right, your client will be like, she's not very serious with her job, is she? Like, leave me hanging for 1 year. And then what, expect me to be here when she comes back?
Yeah.
So there are disadvantages just to it is what I'm saying because I've experienced it. I've lost some clients, but I was prepared for it. Okay, that's one. But I'm also putting myself in the employer point of view, okay?
Yeah.
If I susah, I train you. You learn, you training, you learn on the job, you become very good at it.
Yeah.
And then, bye-bye, I'm going on a 1 year off. And then I repeat the same thing with the next person. And at the end of the day, I don't reap the fruits of having a capable person. Because I keep training you to be capable and then gone. And then training you to be capable and gone. So in a way, as from an employer point of view, I might not like this new trend at all.
Oh, yeah. But then again, nowadays, worker turnover memang is very high one. If you last time work for life, what is it called?
Yeah. So
right?
you train them once, you just can trust them to do that for 10 years, then you can do other things.
But you see, even if they don't take micro-retirement, likelihood is they would have jumped to another company already.
Correct.
So in a sense,
Not that big
I
of a
don't,
disadvantage lah.
that taking a break to the employer might not necessarily be a bad thing lah.
Maybe.
I'm thinking a reset is not necessarily all bad as well, because
Some people find a reset difficult.
okay, I think it forces you to rethink. It is difficult.
Correct.
It is. It's not.
It's
not
starting from
like
scratch lah.
natural, right? It's not natural. So okay, one example. Like this one is not micro retirement, but just an example. I was teaching a teenager, right? I was teaching, and then year end. So,
Okay.
he finished his thing. It was like project based lah. So finish the thing, kira okay lah. Bukan retirement, tapi dah habis ni goal. Then we're taking a break, right? And then recently the mother contacted again and said, can we resume classes?
Finish break.
Finish break. But in a sense, I have to find a time slot again. That one. But then I also thinking, I have to think, okay, so what's next? What's the next project? Where are we heading next? How should I charge next? Right? So it also gives me that opportunity to reframe, rethink. Of course, I mean, some people every year they change their price, right? They have what you call like we get increment, right? So rates also
Correct.
go up.
Inflation also.
I tend to forget about that. So in a sense, it's like, okay, that break gave me that, now this next year already, I need to review the rate as well. So in a sense, sometimes it's kind of good lah. But okay, so I have another question.
Okay.
Does micro-retirement necessarily mean that you don't come back to this? Or you're kind of taking a break from this and you're going to do something else? Okay, because I'm asking, I'm not Gen Z. But there was a phase in my life where I was very, very actively singing and performing, for
Okay.
example. I still do it, but it's not as frequent. It's a lot less frequent in terms of performing. I still sing, I still do recording, I still do things, but more behind the scene lah. So if you ask me, where are you singing next? A bit hard to answer your question lah.
Okay.
It's not like, I'll be there. So now my phase, I'm doing a lot more coaching. I'm doing singing at events, not so public one. Okay. But I have not discounted that I might come back to performing more regularly when the time is right. Maybe yes, maybe no, but I definitely have not closed the door to me lah. Maybe I'm in dreamland, I don't know.
No lah. So
But
it's not a micro-retirement for you lah, is what I'm saying. It's just a pivot. And
A
then pivot
pivot?
back. Yeah.
and
But the trend that is really wiring now is micro-retirement where
so
they
they
don't
just
go back.
totally change.
Yeah.
Totally change. But do
Totally
they keep
change.
any of the skill sets or
Of
any
course,
of the
you
skill sets
will bring-
relevant to their
You will
next...
bring certain skill set to the next level one. Leadership.
Ah,
If you know how to manage
Yeah.
people, it doesn't matter which industry. So
Okay.
they really focus on the young people. What I would say I'm envious of. They would take all the people skill, the leadership skill that
Yeah.
they've learned in this industry, and then they go to another industry. So every time they enter a new industry, they don't enter from a blank canvas. The
yeah.
blank canvas is just industry knowledge. But the
Okay.
people management, the dealing, the attitude, the discipline, all is upgraded. But in a different environment, which is what keep them not bored.
But it's also good because it also brings that fresh perspective to the next industry that they're going. Because we always talk about multidiscipline.
Yes.
You know how if you are too into that one thing, you tend to see things in that lens lah. But now you're moving to a new industry. I don't know, maybe from, I work in a bank. Now I'm going to do coffee. But I already know how bankers work.
Yeah,
You
how
know,
to get a loan to open my next cafe.
Yeah, I know about that financing. I know about risk management. I know all that, all
Correct.
that. I can apply this too. So I'm not just thinking about how to make good coffee, how to make good
Correct.
customers.
Which is
you
why
know.
I'm very envious of them. They are it suits exactly what their profile is or what we deem their demographics are.
Mm-hmm.
They are really those who constant learning, constant different environment, don't want to get bored,
Yeah.
and really committed to it. It's a
True.
very, very interesting generation that
It
we
is,
can learn
it
from.
is. I'm also thinking about what industry can you jump to the next one. So for example, right, most of them will probably start with a corporate kind of thing. So because they would study. Now it's everybody will do at least the first degree masters, right?
Correct.
It's kind of like the norm lah.
Yeah.
Whether you do well in school or not also, it's it's just the path, right?
Correct.
And those things like, let's say I study accounts, or I want to be an actuarist, or I want to be an architect, or I want to be whatever, even technical skills. I would imagine the first one would start with what they are trained in lah. But they cannot move to a totally different professional. So
I'm just saying, can I
they
watch?
say, I want to be a doctor tomorrow.
I watched enough vlogs to tell me the profession does not always start with what they have studied.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm
You
just
know,
saying.
I mean, of course, if you're talking about lawyer and doctors,
those-
it's different lah.
those
okay?
type lah.
But even you say lawyer, some of them have done it. They study account, then they decide they like law. They go to a legal firm and start learning and work and study at the same time. Total switch. They are
Suddenly think of
very,
suits.
they are very willing to spend money to invest in themselves in that area.
So would they go back to university? And I suppose some
Part-time
lines you
lor.
can lah. You can't be a medical specialist lah.
Part-time lor.
Although I have a friend, my
Can.
nephew, he actually studied biology or something. Then he was working in the lab. Then he decided, no, I want to become a doctor. Then he suddenly went into the doctor. But it will take more time lah.
They don't really care about the time. They are not like us last time. You say, oh, by 30, I must be
Correct.
director. You know, they are like,
Yes.
I don't care about the directorship.
I'll just start the new journey.
Correct. It's
And-
all about the journey and growth for them, which is something that I think we all can learn, especially if like we are in the it's a slightly like my generation or your generation. If you are in this burnout situation,
Yeah.
or you think that you are not having a work-life balance,
Yeah.
or you are scared of changing job or in a different industry. For me, right, the young ones have proved to us that if you have the determination, the interest, and the perseverance, you can do it.
That would mean, right, that your life goals are also shorter term goals lah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, their big life goal is have a fruitful life and be happy.
Correct.
Not like us last time is, we must earn enough and then, so that we can live. Then we decide what we want to do. Theirs is like purely, I mean, you see the way they make decisions.
Yeah.
It's what they want.
Yeah,
Compared
yeah,
to the
yeah.
generation before, it's not what they want. They need to do the normal stuff first until they are affordable to sustain what they want.
They can afford, yeah. Yeah, okay, that doesn't describe me again lah. So personally, I am not the category that you just described.
Okay.
I am live a fruitful life is more important than whatever lah. But my idea of fruitfulness also maybe old school comes with the stick with it in the long haul and then you will see the fruits at the end. But sometimes, why wait when you can have small fruits now?
Yeah. I think that's one thing that we can learn from this entire viralness about all these taking breaks to strike a work-life balance, to recover from burnout. There is that courage, the guts to do things that
Yes.
you need to do for yourself and not what everyone thinks is better for yourself.
Correct. And everybody needs a good break now and then. So we go take a break and we see you in the next episode. Jom Sembang Malaysia is hosted by two Malaysians who are passionate about Malaysian stuff. Stay tuned every week for a brand new Sembang session with Juwita Suwito and Gina Yoong. Today's episode is recorded at Studio 2105. Remember to click like and subscribe for a brand new episode next week.